evening, everyone. We got a pretty full agenda tonight. So can I have a motion to open the town board meeting April 9th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda is the review of the FEIS for IWS ADB permit. Sean?
Sure, Mr. Supervisor. So, excuse me, this was last considered at your March 12th meeting. At that time, you reviewed the red line FEIS, which included my comments. We discussed a couple comments. I had made a couple revisions to the FEIS as you requested. You also had some questions regarding traffic. You had asked me to get some comments from John Canning, which I got and circulated out before this meeting tonight. And John is here tonight to go over traffic with you. In addition to comments on the FEIS, John prepared a fair share cost memo, potentially identifying the applicant's cost for mitigation potential traffic concerns.
Okay. Everybody's got the ADB. I will tell you that after the last meeting and George's insistence, I had a conversation with the CEO of IWS, and he and I worked out a deal where we're able to incorporate into the host fee a cost of living increase year over year not to exceed 3%. So that's got to be added to the community host agreement. So that should take 2.1 George's comments on that. Do we have any comments from the board? Phil?
No.
I'm good. I'm good.
Melissa?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Canning?
Now, push up from the bottom, John.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. Working out, yeah?
No.
Push up from the bottom, this would.
Fix.
Now,
No.
thank you. So this application is to ostensibly increase the permitted haulage amount from 600 tons per day to 670 tons per day. It's a relatively modest increase. The applicant has provided data to indicate that it should increase the number of trucks, I'm going from memory, from about 284 to 326, which I think is 32 per day, or two trucks per hour, 4 truck trips. It's relatively modest, but through this application and various other applications before the town with the planning board, there have been a number of intersections that have been identified that need improvements from either a safety or capacity perspective. They include New York 17M at Kenny Route 50, where there was a high accident rate, Cannon Hill Road at 17M, where there's a need for a left turn lane because of high accident rate, 17M at Musket Court, where there's potentially a need for a left turn lane because of additional traffic there, and the intersection of Hartley Road and Gate Schoolhouse Road, which is the primary access to this location, where there are no left turn lanes right now on 17M, and because of that, left turns kind of slow traffic up, and there's some congestion. The town has recently adopted a policy of trying to address these issues. It is a state roadway, but if you're going to wait for the state to do it, we'll be here years from now maybe. So what the town has been doing is we've had the applicants determine how much these improvements would cost and calculate how much of a percentage their traffic increases, and therefore the town has entered into agreement where they would be paid a proportionate amount to their percentage increase. I did provide the total dollar amount for the improvements for these locations, which I'm looking at them here. It's like almost $3 million total improvements, but the applicant's fee, because it's such a modest increase, would only be $26,350. So that would be a fee to offset their impact at these locations and help the town, the other companies, or the other applications put money into an escrow. When you have enough, you can go out and fix one of the locations, and if you're lucky, the state will come along in the interim and fix some of the other ones, and hopefully we'll get to a place where we want to be, and the town can still remain in business for the various enterprises that want to take place.
Very good.
Any questions?
Any questions? Ken?
So the tonnage is going from 600 that they're working on the DEC permit, not the permit. We allowed only, I think, 340 tons. So that's not a modest increase, it's a modest increase the way they've been performing. In addition to that, if you do the number of trucks, I just did a quick calculation, real quick, is a 50% increase in traffic based on the amount of additional trucks. That's not quite modest. So there is substantial differences in what we're talking about.
So I completely understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
From my perspective, I've been advised by staff that the appropriate measure to base it on would be from 600 to 670. I know there's the old permit issue that's 350.
Right.
But that's what we based it on.
Right, but the number of trucks also, and that's what's going to affect the traffic, the roads, the intersections, and whatever, that's a 50% increase. And it's not a modest amount, and $26,000 on a $3 million upgrade is really, it's almost an insult to this board to even offer that. So, in any event,
Okay, thank you.
that's my comment.
I think a lot of the addition from 300 to 600 was addressed when we worked on that road. That's part of the reason why that road has concrete base and everything we did along that road. Am I
The town
correct?
made substantial improvements to that road, the highway department
And-
handled that, yes.
And they would not contribute to that. We
No,
did
there
it
was
ourselves,
no-
we asked them to contribute to that,
As far
and
as I
they
know,
would
there's
not
no-
contribute, and they are the prime user of that road. So, when we're talking good neighbors, we need to lay it all out and understand what we're talking about.
The applicant is here this evening, they weren't at your meeting,
Right.
which is part of the reason you adjourned until tonight, so if you
Yeah.
want to hear from them on the topic, they'd
Sure.
like to speak to you about it.
Okay.
Rick?
I know that they do use that road a lot. I agree with you 100%. They're permitted now for the same amount, aren't they? 670 and
On the
70?
DEC 360, yes. On what Phil's point is on our ADB, they're not.
We never gave them the increase, the DEC said they could do it.
But they're currently using the DEC permit.
Correct.
They
Okay.
currently
At that
do.
level,
That's
yes.
all, I just wanted to know that. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
sure. Anyway,
Melissa?
We're still waiting on the other DEC permit, correct?
Yes. Still waiting.
Still waiting on it, okay.
right.
Anything from the applicant? Would you like to speak on anything?
Not that I can think of, I mean, if you have any questions.
No, I think we've gone through pretty much everything, you know.
Yeah.
Is there, is IWS gonna have an issue with the contribution to that road work?
Yeah, no, I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Next steps, Sean?
Yeah, okay. So, again, just to kind of rehash, you're here right now as part of seeker, right?
Mhm.
So you are considering the FEIS, so if there's no further changes to be wanted to that document, the board should consider a motion to adopt the FEIS as amended by your consultants.
So the only change is just the understanding that 30% cost of living is.
But that's in a separate agreement, Mr.
Yeah,
Supervisor. so
I got you, but it was in the
it's not part of
FEIS as a question, so that's why I asked. Okay. Mr. Brady, you have anything on this? All right, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the FEIS ADB permit.
No, Mr.
No.
Supervisor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's a motion to adopt the FEIS.
I'm sorry, I'm
As
looking at the wrong
Right.
one. Yeah, a motion to adopt the FEIS.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, is it a roll call?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I need a motion to authorize the attorney to prepare the finding statement. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to authorize the attorney to prepare a draft ADB permit.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I just have a question
Sure.
on the phone. What is included in the ADB permit?
The what, tonnage you mean?
Yeah,
It's for 670 tons per day.
is that 600 tons of waste and then 70 tons of recyclables?
That's not what the applicant has asked for, right? So
I
my
understand.
recommendation would be, this is just a draft that you're working from,
Yep.
right? Where we will prepare the permit, and then at that point, when you have that draft draft in front of you. At that point, you discuss whether there's modifications. And there may be other items in addition to the actual tonnage that you want to change and discuss further. But I would say to work from that written document to guide your discussions.
Right, but I made it crystal clear that they were getting 600 tons of waste and 70 tons. And if we were going to go forward, I was not agreeable to incorporate the recyclables because they have to go someplace. And even though their tonnage is the same, those recyclables are additional tonnage that will have to come in. I made it crystal clear. So, in any event, if that's the way the permit's
It's
gonna go,
it's a
let
motion,
them
it's a
in.
motion. Yeah, it's just a motion for him to
but-
prepare it, that's all.
No, I understand that, but I don't think that, I want to, go ahead. I need a roll call on that.
But you understand, it's just a motion to prepare it, we still gotta talk about it.
No,
we
I
still gotta-
understand, but when they're preparing it, they should be preparing it at 600 tons and 70 tons recycled. Each step that we discuss, they go further and further and just hang on to that 670 tons instead of modifying it before. In addition to that, I don't know what the DEC has said, so,
Where is, your permit right now with the DEC is 600 tons per day?
and 70 tons per recyclable, is that correct?
No,
The current permit?
the
Yeah.
current permit is 600 tons of MSW, C&D, plus
Right.
70 tons of recyclables.
I thought that's what I just said, but maybe I'm wrong.
So that's what your permit is, it's 600
No,
tons
that's exactly what I said,
of
yeah.
MSW and C&D
Yeah.
and 70 tons of
But
recyclables.
we're asking.
You're asking the
I know what you're
DEC.
asking.
To
correct.
convert the 70 tons of recyclables into
Right.
C&D and recyclables.
And I made it
Or,
clear from day
MSW.
one that you shouldn't ask
So-
for that. Anyway, let's
So
move
the
on.
question I have is how do we prepare an ADV based on a 670 ton requirement for MSW if it hasn't been approved by the DEC?
Sure. Well, it makes sense that it hasn't been approved, right? Nobody can take, no other outside agencies can take action until you conclude seeker, right?
Okay.
So you have to finish seeker, and you're gonna do that when you adopt the finding statement.
So Councilman Cantorino would like a roll call
Oh,
on
yeah.
that motion.
On which motion?
The motion to authorize the attorney to prepare an a draft ADV permit.
With 670 tons and no recyclables in it.
Well,
That's what that statement's gonna be.
You want
well, he's gonna
600
prepare,
tons.
we're just preparing a motion to prepare the draft and then discuss the draft. It's gonna come out at their request of 670 and then we can talk about it when we do it. We don't have to approve that.
No, but we have to approve the attorney preparing one, and what I'm saying to you is I'm against him preparing one with 670. You can prepare one with 670 recyclables, just what they're operating with now, and the DEC, and we have nothing other than what they have now, and what they have now is 600 tons and 70 tons recyclables. So, just call for a roll call, let's move on. You all vote the way you
Yeah,
want.
I can just give you some advice in terms of how other boards handle it. A lot of times, boards will like to work from a written document, and there is obviously further discussion. There might be other
Oh, yeah.
permit conditions that you want and that the board want. And whenever the board may be split, usually the chair or the supervisor calls for a roll call on any particular point. But I would really just recommend that you wait till you have that written document, so you know exactly what you're considering. And Rory could put in an alternative on that particular case if it helps you with that point.
So we can,
Just flag it and.
we can prepare the document, prepare an ADV permit, and just leave the tonnage out of it to be discussed?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Cool.
is that good for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
So, a motion to authorize
You
the
did
attorney to
already.
prepare.
You did already.
Okay.
I was gonna add the other stuff.
You want to add?
You don't have to.
Without the
You're good.
tonnage.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got it, yeah.
roll call.
We don't need a roll
already-
He
call.
asked for a roll call.
I have, yeah. And the supervisor's asking for a roll call.
I'm not sure what we're calling on. What's the motion?
The
The motion to authorize the attorney to prepare an ADV permit.
Right.
He asked for a roll call.
Draft of an
Okay, I had Melissa make the motion, Rick seconded.
Right.
Okay, Councilmember Cantorino,
Aye.
Councilmember Gallo, Councilmember Floria,
AD. Aye.
Supervisor Petra.
Aye. Very good, guys. Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor, just before the applicant leaves, I
Yeah.
just want to a housekeeping matter. So, once you adopt the FEIS, you have 30 days statutorily to, and I know you know this, to adopt the finding statement that you just authorized to be prepared tonight. within those 30 days, you only have one meeting, so this likely will be on your next meeting. All right, so we're gonna, we're primarily offering it, but we're gonna try to work together to get it to you as quickly as possible, so you have the maximum amount of time to do it.
I won't be here at the next meeting, so maybe George can handle it. Go on vacation, that's what
Of
you have.
course, that's good.
I mean, I can zoom in from Mexico if you want.
I wasn't here for the last meeting, when they called it off.
Because you weren't here. That's why they wanted to-
I know.
All right, next item on the agenda is HQCA Clean Energy Services LLC, QCell and Utopian Power LLC. Indemnification and hold harmless agreement for a clearing permit. Shauna?
Sure, I can go
also.
through this quickly if you want, Supervisor. So Q-Cells recently purchased that solar site across from Derwin Road from Lightstar. If you recall, Lightstar was before you, they received special permit from this board, and they received a site plan approval from the planning board in November of 2024. Because of the DEC back clearing deadline, the Q-Cells sought and received a clearing permit from the planning board to clear 4.5 acres. This is just an indemnification agreement. It was prepared by Attorney Schroeder's office. It's been signed by the applicant, and this is just on your agenda this evening to authorize the supervisor to sign it as well.
Attorney Brady, have you gone through it?
I reviewed it, but it was drafted by our other counsel, so I was
Okay.
not gonna, Monday morning.
All right, any questions from the board on it?
No.
So could I have a motion
To
to
authorize.
authorize?
I was helping authorize the supervisor.
Yes, a motion to help, to authorize the supervisor to sign the indemnification agreement for HQCA.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is NYSERDA Stretch to Zero discussion, where we are in the process of working with NYSERDA to become a 100% code electric township. So we've been doing a lot of stuff, Sean. I don't know what you talk a little bit about. I know Frank gave you some stuff on what he's looking for also, so please.
Okay, so I provided the board with a written summary. I tried to condense it as much as possible, but it's a very complicated matter of things. So this stems from the 2019 Climate Act by New York State, and then NYSERDA subsequently adopted what they call New York Stretch, and that was to help meet those Climate Act goals, right? And basically, what the Stretch program was, it's a model code which incorporates more efficient, it's more efficient than the current New York State Energy Code, right? So it's a supplement, if you will. In 2023, you entered into an agreement with NYSERDA to participate in a pilot program on that Stretch code. And so far, you've received, I think, $200,000?
Yes, we have, 200,000.
And you have until June 30th to complete the rest of the program. We had a meeting with NYSERDA, and they offered two approaches. The building inspector reviewed one and determined that it was unfeasible because you would have to essentially start from scratch and develop a green code. NYSERDA then said that there's another approach, which they call the Ithaca model, based off of what Ithaca has done, and that is adoption of already prepared portions of the energy code. So these are appendices to the current energy code that are not really part of the energy code. They're just in there really for informational or if you choose to adopt them. What the Ithaca model is it's no net zero, right? So if you were to construct a building, a commercial building or residential building, it wouldn't have any impact off the grid. So you would have to get all your power equal to what you consume off of something like solar or some other renewable energy source. It's complex in that, and Frank did a number of bullet points on some of the complexities. There are some trade-offs, right? There's some long-term benefits, right? Because the houses are more efficient, if you will. But then, on the other hand, to incorporate some of that high efficient construction practices, the initial cost of construction could go up. So the reason this is on your agenda tonight is if you were to wish to proceed with this, it would be a local law process. And when we met with NYSERDA, they had suggested that we have an initial meeting to see if it's something we even want to proceed with. I haven't seen the grant agreement with them for the pilot program, but I understand from Rory that if you choose not to do this, you will not get any further money, but you do not need to return the money you've received to date.
But also, as I understand it, New York State is going to adopt it anyway. Am I correct?
I say that again?
New York State is going to be adopting the,
They may in the
total
next
electrical
round
anyway.
of the next round of the code in 5 years. They may. I don't know.
Anything from the board?
Well, how did that, I mean, how would that affect all other municipalities?
It wouldn't, it would only be here. And part of the reason, part of the complexity is, somewhat the market. So let's just speak about housing, right? So if you're a developer and you're required to have high efficiency house in Goshen, that might drive your price up. Maybe you don't construct houses in Goshen. You look in the surrounding communities that don't have that requirement. So that's something that you would have to consider whether you think that has long-term value or whether you wish not to adopt the code. There also is, and Frank pointed out some of this, there's additional requirements from the building department, right? They would have to
Right.
do these reviews and work with the applicant's architects to make sure that they're meeting these requirements. There needs to be documentation that you can demonstrate to NYSERDA that you're actually implementing them correctly.
All right, well, tonight's meeting was just for the discussion. I think everybody should think about it and get as much information. Have a conversation with Frank and maybe
Oh.
one-on-one with Sean if you got it.
That, I was gonna say that, because I know we received Frank's
Right.
His memo.
memo,
Yeah.
but I think it's definitely a conversation.
Yeah.
And, yeah, for sure.
I believe the governor did send something down though, and it's being litigated now, correct? Or did she put a hold on that?
The wetlands recently were litigated today in Article 78, but it's unrelated to this.
Okay. All right, so I suggest that everybody get a one-on-one with Frank and maybe even Sean if you want to prepare for, when do we have to make a decision by?
Well,
When I start?
June 30th is the deadline. When we spoke to them, they said that as long as you're proceeding and you authorize a local law to be prepared by that date, so you do have a little bit of time, but you don't have a tremendous amount of time. So I would try to keep this on your agenda just so you can make a decision whether you want to move on or not. Because if you do
Correct.
desire to move on, you have to authorize it, have a public hearing and everything else.
All right, so then unfortunately I won't be here, but I just want to push it to the next meeting to get a final decision.
So can we prepare a local law for the next meeting?
I don't think we can.
Do we need a local law for the next meeting?
No, we're not there yet, but working back on a timeline, we're just talking, probably the first meeting in June would have to be the drop dead date, all right? Yeah,
Right, but we
that's-
have to let NYSERDA know way before that we're proceeding, I believe, or no?
No.
No?
They
Okay.
just- What they said, and we can confirm this because we have a follow-up call with them next week. What they had said in the initial call was, as long as you've authorized and you're heading towards compliance, they would consider that meeting the schedule, so.
Okay. So then, we put it on, first meeting in May for,
Give everybody opportunity to do their due
Yep.
diligence and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
that work for you?
Yeah,
everybody?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just had a quick question too, because I know I read your memo, Sean, and thank you. So the awards that the municipalities get, just so I understand, is it based on a certain period of time, or is it for the program itself? Like, is it a
No.
yearly?
My understanding, and I haven't had a chance to review your grant agreement, the pilot program is just based on you getting through the program. So it's
Okay.
Yeah,
not-
there's stages.
Yeah, it's different
Got it.
milestones.
Like we hit one and you get.
Yep.
Correct.
Well, we
Gotta
also
be-
went
You
through-
gotta do some meetings and
Yeah, we went
review
through,
material.
myself and Frank spent a lot of time in meetings and stuff, so they're really,
Okay.
they're
I'll get
reimbursing
with
us for
Frank.
that time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is our comprehensive plan. Bill, would you like to take us through?
Yeah, just briefly, right now, we just need to set the public hearing.
Yep, exactly.
Is that right? And, I know we asked the county to look at it, I believe you said
239,
that, right?
That's correct.
Have we heard anything from the county?
No, which is not uncommon. Being the scope of it, I would imagine they're gonna maximize all the time they have,
Yeah,
so.
I would think so, so really.
So tonight, we're just gonna,
Set the
just a
public
motion to
hearing.
Yeah.
classify it as a type 1 action under seeker. Can I have that
Yeah.
motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
There you go.
Aye.
That's one aye.
Motion to declare the town board as lead agency.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Schedule a public hearing for the comprehensive plan on Thursday, May 14th,
Mhm.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay, next item on the agenda, are we good with this? Move forward
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You moved through it quicker than I anticipated.
So, maybe I can make a comment.
Sure, sure,
Sure.
go ahead.
Okay, so, when we did the comprehensive plan, we did what we what our committee called the final draft, we gave it to the town board, and we received a whole bunch of questions. We had a meeting
Right.
with our engineer,
Planner.
Rory, and our planner, myself, and Mary, and we discussed each and every one of the issues. I know, Melissa, you gave us a comprehensive list, George gave us a list, and I talked to George specifically, one-on-one. But I just want you to know that we considered every single one, made changes where we could make the changes. Some of them were on traffic, which was the traffic study and what wasn't ours. So just so you know, the
Thank
town
you.
board knows. And Joe, you had talked to me about some changes, and we did.
Yep.
We made all the changes. So this is the most updated version that we have. And I'm not sure if you got copies. Mary, you have them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
we all
Christmas.
received
Yep, we all have
If
copies.
everybody has copies, that's what we're at now. Hopefully, if you do see something, you may just let us know, and
Yeah.
we'll address it. But just so you know.
Thank you, Phil.
We addressed everything.
I appreciate it, thank
And
you.
it will go on the town board website tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, next item on the agenda is a review and approve the Second Amendment to the 1987 Walk Hill Agreement. This is an agreement that 5 or 6 towns are involved in. It's, we all contribute. It's, the county is involved, Town of Goshen, Town of Minnesink, Warwick, and Wawayanda. We all contribute to the upkeep of the Walk Hill River. There's an issue with a ledge that they want to take down, correct?
Yeah, but you're in two different, well, there's the amendment, and then there's
Right.
the.
I'm just trying to
Okay,
preface
yes,
what
yes,
we're doing.
exactly, there's a ledge that, on Celery Ave, I think
Correct.
Celery Ave, that's, causing concern, so the Army Corps of Engineers needs to go in, determine, they also do that with the river, determine what needs to be dredged, if anything. So there's two components to this.
Yep.
Um,
This is just the agreement that we sign on a yearly basis?
This is the agreement to, like, share costs.
Share costs,
Yeah,
correct.
this is not the Celery Avenue.
No, I understand
Okay,
that.
but that, they're tied together, I
Yeah.
just wanna make sure.
And as I understand it, the only thing that changes is prior to this agreement, we had a set amount, and if they didn't use it, they returned it to the town, and then we had a supervisors meeting, and all the supervisors agreed to just leave
Let
the
it
money
sit there, because every year you budget it in, and
Yep.
it made no sense,
Correct.
so.
So.
And they're gonna reassess over time, there's a board of advisors, which George has attended their meetings
yep.
to, make sure that, the money is proportioned properly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
that was my question,
Yep.
so.
Well, when we first
George
started,
is
I was
there.
there with the first agreement to do this, and to clean up the walk hill and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And how they proportioned it is to your amount of real estate that's on the walk hill, that's your percentage.
Right.
So it's not like we're paying a real high percentage, everybody else is in Minnesink, and whoever's on the walk hill
Yep.
river has that share of this expense. And it was really a good thing, because we needed to keep it,
Mhm.
try to keep it clean anyway, so.
Yeah, I'll give you the rundown of what everybody pays. County of Orange is 12,000, Town of Goshen is 13,800, Town of Minnesink is 3,000, Town of Warwick is 22,200, and the Town of Wawayanda is 9,000. We're the 5 municipalities that
Right,
encompass the Walker River.
right.
Just a couple quick notes, we went back and forth, not necessarily about the contract, just think that weren't in it. The advisory board, which we discuss meets once a year, and they do go over an accounting of the work performed, so, to make sure that the money's being appropriated properly. There is a part of the agreement, section 14, which states the annual amount paid can be increased, but annual amount paid by the town and the county can be increased beyond the amount in the contract. Thus far, that's never been, it's never been done, and it would have to be passed by, or at least run through the advisory committee. There'd be restraints on it if it was somehow reckless or not.
Correct, the 4 supervisors and the county
Correct.
representative to approve it.
The last thing, which I don't have an answer beyond what the county attorney's office gave me, which is I asked about indemnification. We're allowing people on our property, and we're not the supervisor of them, so the Army Corps of Engineers and DEC are traversing our property, so there's no, they are not obligated to indemnify the towns and the county. I didn't get down that rabbit hole, but that's been the way it is since '87, and the county attorney didn't have any issue with it.
So we have to self-indemnify each of our percentages of the water over that they pay us on.
But otherwise, I'm good with signing off on the amendment, and then we can, I think, get towards the Celery Avenue stuff. I would like to talk to Sean about that before we do anything with that.
Yeah, that's not gonna be done tonight, right?
No,
Yeah,
no,
that's all.
it's coming around the corner.
Yep. All right, any questions from the board on it?
Nope.
No.
So can I have a motion to adopt resolution as prepared?
So moved.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, roll call.
Roll.
Sorry.
Okay.
Councilmember Gallo?
Aye.
Councilmember Florio?
Aye.
Councilmember Cantorino?
Aye.
Supervisor Petra?
Aye. Yeah. Next item on the agenda is to review and approve the resolution to accept the dedication of plus or minus .18 acre piece of parcel along 22 Wood Road from Hillary Ryan Goldman for highway purposes, and authorize the supervisor to sign it and all documents related to it.
Just a quick note, there's differs, I guess, from maybe past dedications or acceptances. This is an existing road, so it's not a new road. It's just just out to the.
Right, so the center
for
line
right
back
of
in
way.
25 feet.
Yeah. Just in case it was an issue.
Any questions from the board? No? All right, so I just need a motion to adopt the resolution as prepared.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. I need a roll call.
Yeah.
Councilmember Cantorino?
Aye.
Councilmember Florio?
Aye.
Councilmember Gallo?
Aye.
Supervisor Petra?
Aye.
And that motion was also to authorize the
Authorize.
supervisor to sign all documents,
Both documents, correct?
all documents.
What? Yeah.
All documents.
Yeah, all
Any
documents.
and all.
I only have two though.
Well,
You'll have more.
yeah, there's gonna be a closing and
Yep.
everything, so.
So sign them too.
Next item on the agenda is to, going so fast tonight.
And 7.
Yeah, review and approve the resolution authorizing the chief of police to sign the agreement with Orange County Stop DWI program. Any questions from the board on it? Just standard agreement, we sign it every year.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Roll call. Councilmember Gallo?
Aye.
Councilmember Florio?
Aye.
Councilmember Cantorino?
Aye.
Supervisor Petra?
Aye. Next item on the agenda is discuss and approve the CCTV and cleaning of sewer lines in Hamiltonian Park and Arcadia Hills by TAM. In order for us to move forward and try to get the grant that we're looking for to reline the sewer lines, it's important that we have an idea of what needs to be replaced. The 100,000 we'll be spending is coming from the account, and then we're gonna be looking for whatever the cost associated with it is in the form of a grant. We're doing this, Sean, we are okay to do this under a piggyback, right? You reviewed that? I mean,
No, I cannot review that, Mr.
Well-
Supervisor. That's something usually for the attorney review, so.
no, but I mean, I sent it off to you, correct?
You did, and I had some comments. Generally, just in terms of piggybacking, it is an exemption
Mhm.
to competitive bidding, and usually there's several different prerequisites. One is that it was let by political subdivision, which in this case it was the county. The second is that letting incorporated language, it says that it opens it up for other communities, which it probably has. They've been doing that pretty regularly now.
Mhm.
And the last is that it was let to the lowest responsible bidder. I presume that's the case, but we'll double check that.
I did not look at it, because I wasn't directed to, sorry. You can go conditional upon that.
Okay.
I have no,
Yeah, can you
I'm
look at it?
pretty
I
confident,
apologize.
I'm not, it's all
Yeah.
right, that's,
That would be my question, just to see what was
It's-
if we needed competitive bids or how that went.
We don't need a comparative bid, but I just wanna make sure that what I got from the county, what I got from Eric Benega was, we can utilize their contract as a piggyback on this. TAM does that work for them.
I don't wanna go off my gut, but
No,
my gut's definitely, but I would like to have an opportunity, so if you can approve it conditioned on.
That's what I'm
fine.
saying, yeah.
Yep, no
I
worries.
apologize that you didn't get it, I thought you were on.
I got it, I didn't I just looked at the quote and I don't do money, so I didn't go past that.
Okay,
So-
apologize on that. I
That's
thought it
right,
was clear.
no big deal, we can fix it.
Right, anything else from the board? Any questions?
Do you need a motion? on
Yes, I need a motion to
that?
approve TAM to perform the CCTV and cleaning of sewer lines in Hamiltonian Heritage and Arcadia Hills.
Conditioned upon.
with- Conditioned upon the attorney's review.
Okay.
Motion,
Oh, so moved.
second,
Second.
roll call.
No, we're good. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item on the agenda is to review and authorize the chief post to sign the updated Port Jervis Police Department range use agreement. It's just a standard agreement that we signed for our officers to go up to Port Jervis to utilize the range.
I reviewed it, I'm good with it.
Good.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
I need a roll call, sorry.
Yeah.
Councilmember Florio.
Aye.
Councilmember Gallo.
Aye.
Councilmember Cantorino.
Aye.
Supervisor Petra.
Aye. Do me a favor, put RC next to it, so it's like.
Yeah, from now on.
RC.
Yeah, roll call.
Roll call. Good idea.
You wouldn't read it anyway.
I don't
so-
read it, that's
He
right.
would read RC and then
Yeah.
write it.
Item number 10, review and approve March 12, 2026 Town Board meeting minutes. Any questions on it?
I'm gonna abstain.
Can I have a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
I abstain.
Abstain.
Yep.
One abstention, okay. We have some information, we had a, New York State SIF audit done by Flurry Risk, and we received a refund of $46,169.03, I believe that's off of our workers' comp.
Yes.
Okay, review and approve Jennifer Blazon, Budget Officer, request to attend the GFOA Annual Conference from April 16th, through the 17th in Albany.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, discuss and approve the appointment of a full-time deputy in the clerk's office. We are going to be moving, we're going to be moving water and sewer over to the town clerk's office. My clerk is leaving us, she's moving on to a different position, and I haven't selected somebody yet that I feel comfortable with hiring yet, so I'm moving water and sewer over to the town clerk's office, and we're gonna utilize our part-timer now as a full-timer to take on that. Anything from you on that, Mary?
No.
No? Any discussion from
Part
the
of her
board?
salary will be coming from the water sewer department,
Yep,
15%,
water and sewer,
so.
yep.
Any motion on that?
Yes, I do.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll
Aye.
call?
I need a roll
Yeah,
call,
you-
sorry.
so I was just gonna say, I think we need.
I have to go to the county too, this is just
Yeah.
preliminary
Yep.
before I move on.
Yeah.
Councilmember Gallo.
Aye.
Councilmember Florio.
Aye.
Councilmember Cantorino.
Aye.
Supervisor Petra.
Aye.
Good.
Next item on the agenda is review and approve the appointment of Christine Lipinski as the assistant, as the
Assessor
assessor clerk at a salary of $56,160. Any questions? We did an extensive interview, we interviewed quite a few people. She was the most qualified, she's coming from Walk Hill, she does the job already, so she moves right in.
Training.
That's great.
Any
Can I get a
So-
motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You need a roll call.
No, we're good.
Let's say aye.
Aye.
But you know, you can call for roll call anytime, so.
I'm gonna
I
say roll call
on
on
everyone.
everything.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And you
I
can't
just
go
don't
wrong.
like saying it,
Every
okay?
single time.
She's gonna get one of those things, the button.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is to review and approve the hiring of part-time police officer Derek Keenan at $36.40. Derek comes from New York State Police via the District Attorney's Office. He is a scholar, he is a professor
Ruth?
of, any questions on it?
No.
No.
I know we like part-time police.
Yes, we
I'm gonna say,
certainly
for
do.
George's not here, I like part-time police.
I know, I think that's.
Not a big smile.
You need a motion?
Yes, I need a motion,
Yes.
please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, discuss and approve summer hours from the town hall. We did it last year, it worked out well. Gave everybody like a 3-day week during the summertime, and it was pretty effective. So it'd be Monday through Thursday, 7:45 to 5 PM, closed on Fridays. These hours are from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Any
So-
questions?
Nope. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we need a roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call?
No.
No?
Okay,
Sure. Yeah. That makes you feel better? No, sorry.
okay.
So I'd like to, I received a letter from the Orange County District Attorney, John P. Heppis, on behalf of Mr. Heppis, who passed away. I'd just like to read it, please. A letter received from Orange County District Attorney John P. Heppis. On behalf of the Heppis family, I am sending this letter to commend Chief Post and the members of the town police department for their traffic detail for my father, Joseph Heppis Senior funeral procession on 3/16/26. Their efforts allowed this entire procession to go through the town of Goshen without interruption to any of the intersections, which ended at the Veterans Cemetery on Craigville Road. Congratulations to the chief and to our police department. They do a phenomenal job.
Always. Absolutely.
Next item on the agenda is to review and authorize the supervisor to sign the annual FTA certificate and assurances form for year 26, the federal assistance program for the dial-a-bus. Any questions on it?
No.
I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the certification.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call? Just kidding.
Very funny.
Discuss and approve the hiring an employee for the highway department. It's a slot that we're trying to create. We're gonna be taking over, as most of us are aware, maybe the public's not, we're gonna be taking over the cemetery. It's being abandoned, so an abandoned cemetery has to come back to the town. We're gonna be responsible for the cleanup of it, the mowing of the lawns, and the winter plowing the roads, as well as taking over the mowing for all of the pump stations. So we have to go out to the county and get a list, so I'm just
Okay.
looking for the approval to do that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run March 26, 2026, in the amount of $368,786.92. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run for April 9, 2026, in the amount of $93,403.12.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay a manual AP run as of March 31st, 2026, in the amount of $25,530.60.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then informational purposes, Officer Blazon, Budget Officer Blazon completed an AP check run for March 26th and April 9th is attached. All right. Got through that pretty good. So
We did.
we'll do a 10-minute recess and we can't start until 7 o'clock, correct?
Right.
Mary?
What?
We have to wait till 7 o'clock to
What
start?
we do, can we go into executive session over potential litigation issue?
Sure. I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the litigation issue.
So moved with the
Second.
intent to return.
With the intent
Correct.
to return.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, Joe.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Only if I can sue.
Can I have a motion to open up the town board meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you.
All in favor? All right, first item on the public hearing agenda is Science City Soul Parking Plan, Section 12-1-2.1, Major Project Special Permit, Special Use. Can I have a motion to open up that public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody from the public that would like to speak on behalf?
If you'd like to speak, just come up, state your name,
Sorry.
where you're from.
Good evening, my name is Chris Haley, I'm a resident of the town of Goshen. I'm also a participating member of the Environmental Review Board here in the town. This particular matter was sent to us about 2 months ago. Our chairman, Mr. Neil Halloran, brought it to us, and we had a very good discussion, and we put together some good work product. Mr. Supervisor, can you confirm that you received our notes from our meeting?
I did not.
Oh,
The-
I feel like we did see something.
I did not.
I didn't see it.
No.
Did you?
No.
Did not.
They will be made part of the record.
Okay.
I don't-
If somebody can share them with me, that'd be great.
Grace should have them.
What?
Grace does the minutes, right?
I
She should
don't-
have them.
My chairman's gonna be all over it.
All right, well,
Yeah,
it'll be
well-
incorporated into the record. I mean, it's not, I don't think there's gonna be.
Thank you.
That's
With
fine.
that, then, two items that I would like to bring.
Sure.
I was gonna reiterate anyway. The first is that the plan here is to raise the ground a substantial amount to get it out of the floodway. And, that said, that's going to take, hundreds of dump truck loads of fill to bring in. Among my many jobs, I've spoken about, one of them is I drove a dump truck for a few years. You've all heard the slap of the tailgate. When that dump truck pulls away, dumps out, and then to clear the gate, they slap that tailgate. And it is the world's largest steel drum. It makes a boom. I do believe that if the wind's blowing the right way, you'll hear that noise all the way down here to the village. I would ask, stringently ask, that part of the deal, part of the plan be that noise mitigation for the surrounding residents, that the tailgate not be slapped, and a fine be imposed if it is. Secondly, the traffic, due to these hundreds of trucks being brought in, and there's really no way around it, they need to do it, I would ask that our traffic be taken into consideration. Perhaps Mr. Canning should chime in to put a time limit as to exactly when they can start and stop bringing trucks in. And finally, I looked for this on our town website. I'm privy to the information because I'm on the ERB. It didn't occur to me until just a few minutes ago. I looked it up. I can't find it on our town website. That is to say, this project in particular. So here we're having, is it on the town website? Okay, so
It'll be on tomorrow morning.
It'll be under the planning board, if you look under the
Right.
planning board.
Should be.
Or,
I mean, I just, you can search on the town website and you're looking for signs of the Souls parking and it doesn't come up. So if if it's even on there, it is so well hidden as to not be practically used by the public. That said, we are here, we're having a public hearing on the issue, and yet the public really doesn't have any information on that. I would suggest that this hearing would have to be held open at least until the next meeting, so that anyone who is interested to comment can see the information on our town website and make their comments.
Mr. Supervisor, can I just comment on that?
Sure.
So, whether it's on the town website or not, there is no requirement in your code or in the state requirement that it be on the website. There's a general requirement that you have planning board applications and whatnot, it's a state requirement. So you are in compliance with your code in terms of the public hearing, but if the board's pleasure is to hold this open, to make sure that it's on the website, to encourage public comment, there's nothing out of the ordinary with that. You absolutely can do that if you'd like.
Yeah, I don't see it on there. I'm on the planning board project right now.
I thank you for the clarification, Mr. Hoffman. That said, I do not recall ever a project where we had a public hearing that the information was not made available on the town website beforehand. And I take Mr. Hoffman as word that it is perhaps not required, but I think it's just bad form not to make that information available if you're gonna have a public hearing beforehand. Thank you very much.
Anybody else like to speak on behalf of it? Neil?
Thank you. Neil Halloran, resident of town of Goshen. I'm kind of surprised we're doing this before secret's been completed or whatever. When secret's been started, I haven't seen anything like that. And I agree with Chris that I did not see it on the website at all. One of the several concerns about this particular property. There's wetlands, and I know Rick is well aware of how wet that property is. We talked about that the last time. Because Tam used to own this, and they had problems with it there. It's also floodplains, so there's issues with floodplain there, wetlands. In fact, the floodplain actually goes all the way up to Hartley Road. So we know that. It comes across Hartley Road some. In the past, it's been filled right in there by TAM and also by the town of Goshen's Highway Department. They've been filling that for years. That needs to be looked at and investigated because at this point in time, that's impacting the floodplain or possibly impacting the floodplain and diverting the flow. There's a whole bunch of information that has not been released that way or looked at that way that I've seen. I'm really very much concerned how much we're going to fill in that floodplain and what that's going to do in the future to people downstream and upstream. We're talking about Healy property going upstream from there, and going downstream is going to be Signs of the Soul in Braham. So I think there's concerns. And it may even impact our culvert, which we've already replaced once on Hartley Road. I don't think that's been looked at either. So just a bunch of concerns about it. Traffic being one during, certainly during construction. And ultimately, I think we have to go back to Signs of the Soul and amend their secret process because we never considered them having parking to this degree on Hartley Road. So I think their findings and everything would have to be redone if this is in fact put over here.
Mr. Supervisor, that's the whole purpose, right? So, Mr. Holler made a comment about seeker and the public hearing. I think this board wanted to have seeker open so you can receive comments from the public while you're going through your seeker review. So right now, in terms of seeker, you've authorized part 2, which I circulated out to this board. That's to help you identify impacts. Once you adopt that part 2, the applicant would likely go back and prepare an expanded part 3 that would address traffic, noise, and all these items that you're discussing tonight.
I agree with Mr. Hoffman. The other thing I usually request is that usually the public is given an opportunity to comment after seeker is completed also. But during the process, we usually talk about a scoping session.
Well, it wouldn't be a scoping session because this is not a type 1 action. It's what EIS
I'm aware of it, however, they could do it if they want to, but I'm not suggesting they should. But I think that this is significant enough that I think the public needs to possibly speak later on also. All right, thank you very much.
Would you like to speak, Jason, at all, on behalf of your client?
Sure. I guess I'll stand here where everybody else has stood tonight. I'm here on behalf of Signs Installed tonight. We were here for a public hearing. It was scheduled previously, approximately 2 weeks ago. We were rescheduled for tonight. I am not in receipt of the comments that were discussed tonight, but would be glad to review them and hope to receive a copy of them. I've heard Neil's comments and the other members of the public's comments tonight. I'd like to mention that we are using only a portion of the site. We have minimized impacts through use of grass surfaces and other pervious materials. We intend to comply with the regulations regarding the entrances and the walking paths along the frontage, landscaping, etc. And I'd also just like to mention that this parking plan is a substitute or replacement for a parking plan that was previously approved on a different lot, which has now been returned to its purpose and has been moved to this just based on location and proximity to the home use. And I'd also like to just point out that I think it's clear, but that this use is only going to take place approximately 2 times per year, so very infrequent. I do understand about the noise during construction. Of course, that's a concern, and I don't have any issue with working to mitigate that, and any other issues that the public has raised. I can't speak to the posting of the project on the website, but I know that the materials were made available at the town itself. They were submitted to the town, but I'll leave that up to the board whether they're comfortable with moving forward with the project. I would just like to mention that we are slightly delayed because of the cancellation of the prior meeting, so if we could move forward in any way, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Do you know if they're looking to utilize this year or not?
The hope was that they would utilize it at their summer gathering, yes, so that was part of
And if
it.
they don't use that, they're gonna use Strong Farm?
Well, Strong Farm has been sold, but they may be able to use that.
Oh, it has been sold?
Yes.
So we'll be
my
coming back
knowledge.
on the tax roll.
Yes, that's my
Okay.
knowledge, to my knowledge.
So. Any questions from the board? Anything from you, Rory?
Nope.
Sean?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, so I had distributed the Part 2 EIF to the board that was based on the applicant's Part 1. It identifies potential impacts. If the board is satisfied with that, I would ask you to adopt that, and then the applicant will prepare Part 3, which would explore the potential impacts from the project.
Fine.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, so, as Mr. Hoffman has noted, he's prepared the Part 2, does identify several impacts that were brought up by the residents. I think it most likely identifies all the impacts that will be brought up or would be brought up. So, that being said, we've heard some of the concerns from the public. There's a document that we'll be receiving, I'm sure, that will identify, I think, most likely a comprehensive list of concerns. So, with that in mind, I don't know that we're gonna hear too many new concerns. So again, I would ask the board to maybe consider closing the public hearing.
Any comments from that on the board?
No.
No?
You could leave, to accept the comments from the ERB, you can leave it, or just close it subject to the comments from the ERB.
If you close it,
Yeah.
you're subject to a 62-day time clock. So I would say that you would request the applicant to waive it. If you wish to keep it open, I would ask the applicant when they think that they could provide you with that Part 3, and then you would schedule this public hearing adjournment to a date certain.
Yeah, well, we have to act on Part 3, right, when we close this public hearing?
Well, no, you would,
I
after
mean,
part
part
two.
two, I'm sorry,
Part two,
part
yeah,
two.
that's right, and that gives them essentially the list of what's gonna be studied. And then the part three is the actual study.
Right.
I'm sorry, can you hit me with that again?
Sure.
Leave it open.
If you wanna close it,
Yes.
you should ask the applicant to waive the 62-day time frame that you're required to take action on the application. If
Okay.
you wish to keep it open, I would ask the applicant when that part three, that study's gonna be complete, so that you know and you can schedule the adjourned public hearing to that date. So they don't
And then do the
need to
public
renotice.
hearing on both?
You would, yes, you would do the public hearing on the site plan, and you'd also do it on the expanded part three, which identifies traffic impacts and things like that.
Well, that kills two birds with one stone. It allows it to
Correct.
stay open, it allows us to get the information from the ERB, it also allows us to put the application up so that people can see it. Jason, how long will it take you to
Yeah.
get the part three?
So the board has not even adopted the part two, so it could take some time, at least I would gather, or would figure at least 6 weeks or more. Because, in terms of scheduling, we still need to complete all those parts of the part three. And again, you know, there'll be, I think the part two is identifies all of the issues that the board, or the public would have had voiced. Again, it's a pretty, I think the overall long-term impact of the project is pretty minimal. I completely understand noise and such during construction, but I would point out that and I went through all the mailers that we sent this, for both rounds of the meeting. There were not, as to my recollection, any residential folks identified on those mailers.
There's not. There's no
So,
residential.
I guess my point is that this is a heavily industrialized zone that is in reality gonna be kept quite green through this application. And I know other uses had been anticipated on this site, and I think it's one of the less intensive uses that could have ended up on this site in the long term. So I just asked the board to consider that too in its thought process tonight. Thank you.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you didn't answer your question.
I was just gonna, yeah.
Well, I think if the question was how long it will take us, I think it's gonna take at least 6 to 8 weeks, and, as Mr. Hoffman has indicated, we'd be glad to waive the 61 days period.
So us closing the public hearing tonight, there's no additional value to you if you gotta prepare the part three, and we have both at the same time, correct?
If you close the public hearing tonight, that does not allow the public to comment on that
No,
part.
I understand that, but I mean, for the purposes of the applicant, he can start the part three regardless of whether we close the public hearing tonight or not.
Could have started it the day you got the part two.
Well, we're gonna vote on the part two tonight, whether we keep the public hearing open or not, right? So
I would ask you to, yes, yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's appropriate this
So
evening.
we need to start on the part three, because, you know, you'll have the part two right away. That's the way I see it anyway, so.
Yeah, I feel comfortable in that, if it's no imposition on the timeframe for the client, it's gonna take you 6 weeks anyway. So we can kill two birds with one stone in one public hearing, and do it all. All right, so then I'm gonna make a motion to leave the public hearing open. Go ahead.
June 11th,
So when?
June 11th.
June 11th, and that time, hopefully you could have the part three, work really hard.
Be our goal,
No vacations.
between now and then, just one.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to leave the public hearing open to June 11th. It allows us to get the ERB comments, it allows the application to go on the website for anybody else in the town to view.
So, second the motion.
You're making the motion, Bill.
I thought you made the motion. You can make a motion.
I don't know, Joe made the motion.
Second.
Oh,
Roll call.
seconded.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Roll call, Councilmember Cantu.
Aye.
Councilmember Florio.
Aye.
Councilmember
Gallo.
Gallo. Supervisor Petra.
Aye.
Any O's?
Also need,
And we need to adopt,
yes.
Adopt what?
The part two.
Part two, okay. So a motion to adopt the part two.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call.
roll call. Councilmember Gallo.
Aye.
Councilmember Florio.
Aye.
Councilmember Cantorino.
Aye.
Supervisor Petra.
Aye.
Yeah, you can go roll call and everything.
I'm done, that's what I'm doing now.
You got it.
Great.
You know, I can leave.
Don't you dare.
All right.
All right.
Next item on the
Supervisor
agenda.
Bender, Supervisor Bender, I just want to acknowledge Chief Post is here. And
All right.
I'm aware-
Chief, great letter, we talked about the way you can help us.
You talked to that already?
Yeah.
He's coming at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'll give you some time after the public hearing if you'd like to speak.
Okay.
I got one more public hearing though, a very important one.
Yes.
All right.
I just figured I'm on the agenda 4 times, I ought to show up.
Yeah, you
Everything
are.
was
Yeah, but
good,
we
Chief.
did,
Meeting
you did a
started
great
at
job in
6.
absentee.
Good job, Chief.
Yeah.
Meeting started at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you,
All right,
Sean.
Chief.
Good night, Chief.
Next item on
We
the
were trying to
agenda
proceed.
is introductory law number 1 of 2026 entitled adopting a moratorium on certain solar energy uses. Have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, roll call?
No. Yeah, you
Aye.
Aye. Anybody from the public would like to speak on behalf of this moratorium? The floor is yours.
Behalf or against?
Behalf or against?
Yeah,
Yep.
speak on it in general.
In general,
You
yeah.
could
For
put
or
both
against?
It's a public hearing, yeah.
Just state your name and, your town.
My name is Phil Johnson. You guys may remember my grandfather, Bill Johnson. He was
Sure.
an avid town board participant. I live on the dairy farm over on Gage Ocean. I believe it's the last dairy farm that's still shipping milk. We farm several of the properties that are being considered for solar development. The one across from Derlin Road, that was the Derlin farm. We knew Ira Derlin well. My father knew Hayseed Milburn. Our farm goes back, I'd be the 4th generation dairy farmer, so we have a lot of history tied into it. And I guess what I'd like to say is, as much as it breaks my heart to see some of the farms get converted to solar production, I think solar production is a good thing, and I think we need it as a country. We need the energy. My way of life, my parents' way of life is kind of it's hard to sustain. It's hard for the dairy farmers to keep going, as you all know. So that's something my grandfather would have talked about a lot at the meeting. So yeah, and I guess from my perspective, I know everyone likes the farms, and even though they have to put up with the manure spreader, and I don't think the solar panels are too bad. I think the solar panels don't smell like manure. They don't make noise. They don't drive down the street. They don't send their kids to school. They don't have a sewer system that needs to be repaired every so often, and they produce energy. And they pay their taxes. They pay, unlike the farmland, they pay the full tax rate. There's no agricultural exemption, obviously. So yeah, and I think the previous moratorium that we had against solar was effective. I think a lot was worked out then, and I'm against having another one right now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor, members of the board. Is it?
I don't think it's on, I think it's turned on.
I can amplify.
That's working.
Yeah.
Good evening, Supervisor, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Please state your name, I'm sorry.
Moratorium, yes. I'm John Hurley, own the property at 18 Milburn Road, and I am with the developer. I direct our operations at Solar Energy Partners, and I just wanted to share the same information that was just kind of alluded to. But first, we at Solar Energy Partners have a mission to provide renewable energy and develop it in a particularly responsible way. We approach solar a little bit differently than probably some of the other developers, a little bit of a distinct method, I think you'll see. One, we purchase the properties that we're going to develop, we get invested in the community. So that's not very, very common. We also look to find land that is really particularly suitable for solar development. We're pretty specific and intentional about that. So we want to find properties that may not have any other productive use, or not going to have any kind of adverse environmental impact, or where we can enhance and improve the environmental impact or bring additional benefits to the community. We develop and design by working with the local communities very closely. So the way that Goshen currently approaches development is very much in line with how we actually operate. I want to comment on that a little bit further, because the property and the project that we are actually actively developing in Goshen, in late stage development, is a prime example of how we like to do it. We want to work very collaboratively. We appreciate a thoughtful and diligent board that's the lead agency, and that's what you have here in Goshen. And the previous moratorium made some improvements to the law, and we think they make complete sense. The cash commissioning bond, it helps. You want developers that are going to be invested in the community. That's who we are. The screening, I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. The idea is, as we approach these projects, if we're not enhancing the community, we don't want to do it. So you've set up a law currently that drives that type of behavior, that drives that type of investment. And just to talk about the project that we're already in development with, the town late stage development, thanks to the planning board's diligence, which you have a professional and expert planning board, the project that we've developed, it enhances the local ecology by, let's fix that. It enhances the local ecology, it reduces erosion. We are planting acres of native grasses. We are planting hundreds, about 797 trees to be exact, that are going to enhance the wildlife habitat, ensure the screening that the rural character is preserved. The way that that land was traditionally used, historically used, was as a farm. When we obtained it, it was fallow, it was unused. It's festering weeds, invasive species. We're going to remove those. We're going to restore its agricultural purpose with agrivoltaics. We'll have sheep grazing on the land in addition to the productive energy. That saves the community money, brings tax benefits, as was just alluded to, and those who are part of this energy goes straight into the community. It's not industrial or utility scale, it is community scale solar. I'll ask a few comments about just the way we go about it. We're members of the community. We pay taxes. We want to see the community thrive. We want to invest in the local businesses. We invest in local labor. We have some of our friends here who will be part of this project. So just here to say that looking back on the previous town law and the previous moratorium, the improvements and enhancements that were made, reviewing that seems a little bit potentially redundant and even arbitrary. It's a great law. You have a great planning board. And the project that we've developed is going to be unquestionably a higher standard than anything you've seen in upstate. And here in Goshen, you guys will have the gold standard. So with that, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to do this type of work here. And the one final point that I want to make, because I didn't touch on it earlier, is co-location is an important aspect of land use with these particular projects. The idea, and Goshen has done this, approved in the previous moratorium co-location, you want efficient use of the land. If you can put enough capacity of energy in 40 or so acres that will fill up the cube, that's a good thing. That's what you're looking for. If you don't co-locate, you're going to force more land use for the same energy. The goals are the same. We just talked about a net zero impact. The more energy that you can produce and put on the capacity in a smaller piece of footprint of land, the better. So that's what you have here, and it's an efficient and smart use. Separating that co-location would actually drive against the comprehensive plan by bringing less efficient use of the land. You would actually drive more solar projects in separate parcels of land to consume the capacity that the grid needs. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Unfortunately, the president of the building trades couldn't make it in tonight, so I'll be reading this on his behalf.
Excuse me.
My name.
Name.
Yep, my name is Christian. I'm a Orange County resident. Dear Supervisor Berto and apologies, Vitro. How do you pronounce it? Vitro, close enough. All right.
Vitro, Vetro.
Vetro, Vitro. All right.
Don't call me late for dinner.
That's it. Dear Supervisor Vitro and members of the town board, I write today in opposition to any new moratorium on solar energy development. The town already has a robust law, and there is no logical reason to delay important projects like the 10 megawatt Milburn Road project. Unlike many larger developers, Solar Energy Partners have committed to using local union labor. At its peak, 50 to 80 of your family, neighbors, and friends will work on this project. In addition to direct construction jobs, further 40 jobs in connected local businesses will be supported by this investment, over $11 million in direct and indirect labor investment alone. Furthermore, Solar Energy Partners is committed to using American-made panels and products, adding as much as $1 million in new trees and high-quality screening, and bringing in $2 million in Newtown tax revenue. Beyond these positive aspects, the company is also willing to negotiate a host community agreement that could benefit the town by as much as $300,000. Finally, Solar Energy Partners has offered to hold nearby property taxpayers harmless for alleged loss in property values and make substantially discounted power available to its neighbors. For all these reasons, on behalf of the Hudson Valley Building and Construction Trades Council, I oppose the moratorium and instead urge the approval of the Milburn Road solar project at its full size of 10 megawatts total. I understand that not all developers are good developers, but this one is. Their willingness to make the above commitments to the community and local union labor proves it. Respectively submitted on behalf of 29 local unions and 7,000 plus tradesmen and women, respectfully, Todd Uriel.
Thank you.
Dean, before you start, Mr. Hurley, do you agree with that statement
Yes.
about holding the people harmless?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, well, no, not the community hospital. I'm more interested in making sure they're agreeing to hold the property holders harmless in the surrounding areas. I want to make sure that he agreed with that statement. I'm sorry.
No, not a problem at all. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dean Tambori. I'm the business manager of Labor's Local 17. Proud to be a local union member in this area. Worked on many projects throughout the counties. So on this specific, we would hope that you would hold, or at least have Solar Energy Partners exempt from this moratorium. I mean, we've seen these projects and we understand that some of the issues that go on. However, this should be the, like as he has said, the gold standard of solar projects. They came right in, spoke with the trades, going to use local people. They're going to have apprentices to train our local workforce going forward. You talked about, not to continue to repeat it, but the tax benefits. For us anyway, is that they came in as a community, as a neighbor, and spoke directly to us, showed us the drawings and the trees and what they're doing with the landscaping, etc. It really exemplifies this specific solar project. The solar industry, we know that is part of the New York State goals for clean energy. We support clean energy going forward, especially this one with all of they put in above and beyond. This should be a standard, and I would hope if you are discussing the moratorium that you would at least exempt the Solar Energy Partners for this one and use it as an example moving forward for some of the other projects. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Ortega. I am with the Operating Engineers Local 825 Labor Management Fund elect. I'm first of all, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to speak on this local law. I'm going to echo what Mr. Diorio and Mr. Tambori have said, and I'm going to try not to repeat some of the things, important things that they've said, but At first, I wanted you to know that we have some of our local 825 members here, they're predominantly part of our apprenticeship class that is currently going through our training center. This is the future of labor here in Orange County. So we're very happy that they want to be engaged and want to be part of these and want to work in these type of projects. We're here to ask the board to go no on this local law and as a matter of fact, to look for other ways to try to mitigate some of the things that are happening here in the town. We wholeheartedly understand that there has to be a balance between what the needs and the wants. But you know, sometimes some of these laws may go a little bit too far. Our members, we have probably about 2,000 members within our New York territory, but on a total of 8,000 operating engineers in Local 825. Approximately 400 of our members are Orange County residents, and about 20 of them live here within the town and the village of Goshen. We're not here just because this particular project is important to us. I worked in the energy policy realm throughout the state of New York in different other capacities, but especially as operating engineers. And it's rare when you see a contractor or a developer who goes out of the way to reach out to labor and to say, I'm gonna build this project with local labor. I wanna sign a project labor agreement. I want to make sure that the people who are doing this project are not just local residents, but are part of a union workforce. This developer has done that, and believe me, like I have gone to similar meetings like this ones, and some bigger, some smaller, but the first thing that I said is, this is a really bad developer, you should not allow this person to do the work. This is a really good developer, and you guys should really continue to work with them to make sure that the project moves forward. But again, this is not just about the work that is going to be provided, not just for operating engineers, laborers, and our brothers and sisters in the electrical union. All our members are residents of these communities. We live here, we work here. We take our kids to soccer practice, we go to church with each other, we are part of this community. These are jobs that are going to remain here. And there is a commitment to bring in some more jobs to work on this project once the project has been completely built. And it's important to look at those things. It's important for towns like Goshen to look to diversify their tax base. You know, it's good to have farms, it's good to have, my kids love Legoland. But it's good to have things like that, but when we start to integrate other areas, it allows you to have the type of revenues that you need to continue to have the stable tax base that you have and continue to serve the community without having to look at cuts and without having to look at tax increases. So there are a lot of benefits that are part of this project, and again, we do encourage municipalities to look at balancing the things that they want and how they want to do things going forward, but we also want you to take a look at the benefits of these projects and how we can all work together to move them forward. So once again, we're just asking you to not move forward on this particular local law. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Eric Anderson, I'm a village resident in Goshen. As an apprentice, electrical union, I wired the Orange County 911 call center. As a mechanic, I was a foreman at the government center. I was a general foreman at Legoland, New York. Really proud of the things we built in this town. It's a great town. I'd love for our apprentices to be able to be proud of what they built in this town also. Solar farms, any buildings. These guys are great apprentices. They have a great program, they learn a lot. One of the things that is a hurdle for the younger people is we talk about the taxes that these businesses will bring in. Is the taxes that they pay as residents in the town, trying to get into this town. They need good paying jobs, they need to be paid well in order to be able to afford to live in this town. Unions provide that. This type of moratorium stops unions and stops great contractors like this from building in our towns. We need it. Please consider not implementing the moratorium. Thank you.
Bill?
know Troy, town of Goshen. I happen to live in the area where the Milburn Road project is being proposed. I've also heard some of the thoughts expressed by residents about the negatives of the project. And I understand there's two points. The gentleman here certainly making a good point from the commercial side, but I think that we need to have more information. There's been some legitimate points raised, but I haven't heard them addressed yet. So I'm encouraging the sponsor of this project to do some more research. I personally think we need more time as a town before approving this to move ahead. There's things like running off of waste products from the solar arrays. There's been questions about the presence of PFAS on the arrays. I'm aware that there's some types of arrays that don't have them, but there's concern about that. And just general concerns about the environment. Again, I'm not arguing for or against. What I'm arguing for is a considered town approach to any project like this, and in this case, specifically getting answers to the questions that have been raised. Thanks very much.
Sure, Neil, go ahead.
Thank you, Neil Heller from Town of Goshen. I do want to say this project sponsor has gone more out of their way than any other project sponsor of any of our solar projects. I don't think there's a single solar project in town right now that exists where the solar project owns the property. I think that is a first, and that is unique, and I really give them credit for that. I think that when we wrote our solar law a long time ago, we never considered these projects being double sized, what might be called double sized. Every one of the projects that have come in has asked that we subdivide or not subdivide, but allow them to do double projects on each side, so they need to have separate things. We never considered anything that big, and that is a concern. We had never considered the ramifications of that. The other thing that always happens when these projects come in is every one of them comes in and says, we need to have a variance. So in fact, we need to have more than one variance. And while they say your law is really good, not one of them has said, we'll comply with your law as it's written. Every one of them has said, we need a variance for the setbacks, we need a variance for this, I would love to see somebody come in and comply with the law. We have not seen that happen. I would welcome this applicant to do that, because I know they have gone for variances, and I'm not sure where they stand. I think they still are at the ZBA. But I think that the variances, if you're asking for a variance, you're not really accepting the law. And I don't know why everybody who comes in, all the developers, and it's not just solar, every developer who comes in says, I can do this, but I'm gonna need 5 variances or 3 variances, or whatever that is. They never wanna comply with the law. Now, the other issue is they say they're gonna pay their taxes and pay their way. Not one of our solar projects have come in and not asked for and received a pilot. I would love to see a project come in and say, yes, we're gonna pay our way and we're gonna pay the taxes. We're not gonna ask for a pilot. We're not gonna ask that taxes not increase until 20 years from now, or as it goes progressively. I know it's progressive. Until then. The other issue I have with solar is the amount of impervious surface that's there. And every one of these, I realize there's space in between and all that, but every one of these panels has a drip line. And we all know what drip lines are on our house or on our properties. They do cause erosion. And when you have this much impervious surface with that much drip line, you're gonna have that, and that's not being addressed. I really think you need to go and have a moratorium for now, just to look at some of these issues and the size of this and the scope of it, and where it's gonna be located. I would love to see, and I know that when I was in Florida, visiting Legoland there, I know that what they did there was they had solar panels in their parking lot. And in fact, they charged people $10 extra to park underneath them because then their cars wouldn't be hot. I would love to see people or projects like that add their solar to there, because I think it makes wonderful sense. It doesn't add any more impervious surface, and it's a benefit for them also commercially. If in fact I really think you should have this moratorium. If you're not going to have, or if you're going to consider give me a waiver or an exemption for this project, I would ask that they do it in total compliance with the law. And they should ask and receive they should ask for no variances. And I think that if you're gonna exempt them, that should certainly be a consideration on your part, that they comply with your code as you have it written. And if they're going to ask for that, that you also ask them to pay their full taxes and not ask for a benefit of it. And we don't want to pay our taxes for right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No one else?
Mr. Supervisor, at the risk of, I'm happy to address, okay.
Sure, go ahead, yeah,
Okay.
still open to you.
Again, John Hurley, on the property at 18 Melbourne Road. And since we're here, I'm happy to address, is it Phil? Yeah. Thank you, Phil. At least the specific comments that you mentioned. There is a record on the town website with a lot of detail. But I'm here, and I'll give you my card. You can ask me any questions, any details you have. But specifically, I think you raised the concerns about the panels themselves. The PFAS and runoff. The planning board did an excellent job. Thorough evaluation and with a hard look at this project, its design, and they voted to declare that it has no adverse environmental impact, including those specific concerns, and they're addressed in the commentary. It's on public record. I know it's a lot of information, and as somebody else alluded to earlier, sometimes it's difficult to find, but that's why I'm here to, if you have any questions like that, we can address those. Mr. Hallerman, member of the planning board for a time, great member, and on his comment, I just want to clarify, our property is 100% compliant with all setbacks, all zoning codes, with the exception that we are putting an internal lot line. So all of the setbacks with respect to every other piece of property that is adjacent to ours is 100% compliant. Just want to make sure that was clear.
But
Thank you.
asking for one.
Yes, with the internal lot line between our two properties that we own. We own both.
I'm
Yep.
familiar
Yes.
with it, yep.
Yeah. Just to clarify that. Yep. So, thank you.
Anyone else?
I just have a quick little question.
You can, as many questions as you want.
Damn, but I have to get up, that's what I don't like. Marie Hartman, Town of Goshen, New Hampton resident. Is this by any chance covered in the town comprehensive review that we'll be able to see tomorrow morning? Did they address solar issues? Can we get any information from that or no?
We did.
Okay, so maybe we could leave.
The comprehensive review up on the, well, yeah, no, or not.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Going once? Twice? That's a motion to close the public, oh, no.
So I would recommend, that based on the.
Extend the public hearing, right.
Yeah, adjourn
Make
to,
a motion. Yes, can I
our
have a
next
motion to
scheduled meeting.
extend the public hearing till
Our next meeting, April.
23rd?
23rd, yeah.
So moved.
At 7
Second.
p.m.
At 7 p.m. or soon thereafter.
And I think if members of the public are here and want to speak or are listening on YouTube, certainly you can submit written comments to Clerk Riso. If they're directed at the applicant, so you can share them over to the applicants. We can get, answers that are thought, not that that wasn't well reasoned, but it gives an opportunity to address anything that's a concern. So I would encourage that.
Part of the, part of the motion.
Motion,
Is there a
motion
second?
to extend the public hearing to March 20.
No, April.
April 26th.
I made that motion.
April
No,
23rd, we said April 23rd at
Right,
7
we just need
p.m.
a second.
It's way too confusing tonight.
Yeah. Second, who's-
Second?
I second it, yeah.
Roll call?
Good idea.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would have said,
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much for everybody that came, and at this time, we have privilege of the floor. Bill, go ahead.
Just a quickie, Joe.
Bill Troy, Town of Goshen. Wanted to follow up on the 1987 Wallkill agreement, which I was not aware of. I mean, it sounds great. We should be doing stuff like that. My concern, if you will, is that the Wallkill is a long river, and we're addressing this part of it. What about that part? What about this part? And how does that affect what we say we're gonna pay to do?
So it's addressed in that the entire Wallkill River through Orange County is covered by a municipality. It's either the county, us, Warwick, Wayweanda, but the entire string of the Wallkill is covered by municipalities.
An agreement similar to the one that we,
But the question is, it starts in New Jersey and comes down.
yeah.
And we do
Well,
not.
Well, we're only responsible for what goes through our
Yes.
county.
That's what he's asking.
Understood.
If there's, and I think there's coordination with the other parts of the Wallkill, with the Corps of
Well, I think,
Engineers.
yeah, I think the DEC and Corps of Engineers.
DEC and the Corps of Engineers.
Corps of Engineers.
Yeah,
But
well, in New York, I guess.
What would be your concern, so I can better understand what it is you want to put forth?
Okay, I think you've answered that. My concern was unregulated or sections that don't have the agreement that we have getting
There are none in
stuck.
Orange County. There's nothing in Orange County that's not covered by this agreement.
That's the
Town
answer.
Weisler
Yeah.
County.
That's it.
And it's all done
Right, the
per
entire
map,
Wallkill
whatever.
River is covered
Okay.
in percentage by each municipality.
Done.
And it's not, this isn't the first iteration of this, so we've been doing it. It just, the fee structure was a little, needed to be amended.
This was before you were born though, Rory, right?
Maybe.
Okay, thank you.
When we did the first one, we were removing refrigerators and washing machines and everything. And that was clogging up the Wallkill, and all this debris would clog it up. So it was necessary, and it's been very effective, really. So,
Yes, sir.
Name,
Sorry.
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. My name is Kevin Conway. I'm an attorney based in Rockland. I'm here with Dan Krashower, who's an attorney also. I just wanted to briefly update and speak to the board to let you know we represent the Goshen Homeowners Alliance, and we haven't dealt with the board directly up to this moment, but we have met with the project known for the warehouse in Route 17M that was submitted by RDM. Previously, we met with RDM representatives, their attorneys, and the client with our clients to see if we could reach either accommodations or reach an agreement as to either shrinking the size or the scope or the dimension of the project. The
What location?
this was
Is 2602, the one that's being built?
the one that's that they're seeking to.
2659 and
I'm sorry.
75, 2659.
Okay,
2659, yep.
2675. Okay.
Correct.
The two that are in.
Correct, they're in close proximity to one another. And the applicant
Behind Land.
has proposed a 24/7 distribution center, similar to what you see when you travel in New Jersey and South New Jersey along the turnpike, and they, or what you'd see the FedEx Center that's adjacent to Newark Airport. They want to have a 24/7 processing center where the applicant actually sat and did a newspaper article where he talked about having networks and distribution centers like that he wants to propose in Goshen all the way up to the Canadian border. We previously met, as I said, with the applicant at the library twice. I had my certified land use planner, Peter Police, who's both a licensed in New York and New Jersey as a certified land use planner and architect. We tried to see what it is that the plan actually was going to comprise of. They did present a site plan, but more a model or a discussion points as to what they thought the plan could be, both as a dry warehouse, as they refer to it, or a cold storage, as they refer to it. The size and the scope of it, and including they were going to have no less than 200 employees that would traverse the site each day on a 24/7 basis, along with the 18-wheeler truck traffic, obviously gives the immediate surrounding neighbors concern, because past the tree line, or what I consider a very nice neighborhood that's been there for probably 20 years or now, very well-attended homes. the neighbors would have a front row seat, even with the landscape of there's a bit of a ridge, because the trees will be removed, but even if the trees and the ridge were to remain as it is now, they would be front row seat to a very massive operation. There wasn't much the applicant could offer by way, because they weren't willing to reduce the scope, the size, or the amount of days that the operation would run. And the biggest issue that came up is the lack of water service to the site. They would rely, if they did it today, and they were to receive approvals today, on the existing well system, which we pointed out just for the electrical service there is lacking as well, but just for the current setup, even as a dry warehouse, they wouldn't be able to have the water service ability to supply it. And certainly as a cold storage facility, it would have greater water concerns. So we came to the board tonight to speak more specifically, and Mr. Krashow will do it, I'll have him do it very expeditiously, on the water service issue. Because without the water service, this project and other projects like it in that same corridor wouldn't be able to come to life. And we're concerned that the applicant is either not truly informing the board of the nature and the scope of what would be required with either a water district or transportation center. And we realize that there may have been discussions that have been taking place not in public but in private with regard to establishing a water transportation district from the city of Middletown, which loves to supply water to all comers. But there's a lot of considerations and concerns that this board, we respectfully think you need to know and need to be addressed, not just by the applicant or by the board, or by the board turning over the whole process to the applicant. There's a lot of pitfalls and a lot of concerns that the board needs to be aware of, and we wanted to come here tonight in a respectful way to present that to the board, not in a disrespectful way. So I'm going to ask Mr. Krashower just to give an executive summary, because he can't go on at times. So I'm going to ask him to do executive summary.
3 minutes.
Yes. But he'll
by the hour here.
And we would fully entertain, not as a board, because we'd have to open it to the public, but we would fully entertain if you wanted to come in. I would entertain coming in and laying it all out for me.
No, and we similarly did we did not hesitate, and I don't hesitate to have my clients, when I represent objectors, to meet with the applicants and developers, because many times you can reach an accommodation or you can limit what you agree to disagree on. So that's our purpose.
I'm more interested in the water concerns and sewer concerns than I am with dealing with the applicant, because I'm not even sure the applicant knows who's coming in there. He's building a building.
Okay. All right, so with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Krashower to speak briefly.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, council people, Mr. Brady. My name is Daniel Kraushar, K-R-A-U-S-H-A-A-R, and I burdened 4 children with that last name. But my 2 daughters got married 2 years in a row, so they're okay. One of the things that was being discussed was what's called a Transportation Corporation District. Now, Mr. Brady knows this, but this is one of 300 books done by McKinney's, which are the laws of the state of New York. It is the thinnest of all the books, and I found out why. Let me give you a little bit of background about me. I've been a municipal attorney for over 36 years.
How many?
46 years.
46? 36?
I have represented counties, towns, villages, town boards, village boards, planning boards, and zoning boards of appeal. I've dealt over the years with a number of applications for transportation corporations with regard to both water and sewers. Just as an interesting point, those aren't the only transportation corporations. There are things called ferry corporations, pipeline corporations, freight terminal corporations, district stream corporations, corporations. And the few applications that have actually come before the boards to the best of my knowledge, not a single one was approved by any of the municipalities. I would like to treat this almost like I'm giving a CLE course, so I'll try to like entertain and maybe even call up the Orange County Planning Federation and see if I can get you a credit hour for listening to my CLE. Okay. Article 4 of the New York Transportation Corporation Law addresses the creation of private waterworks corporations, while Article 10 addresses the establishment of a private sewer works corporation. While a private sewer works corporation can be created by a municipality only with prior approval by the County Board of Health, Orange County Board of Health, a private waterworks facility may only be approved if the county health department reviews the request and gives its prior approval. That's a distinction between a sewer district and a water district. If a transportation corporation enters into a contract with the town pursuant to section 42 of the Transportation Corporation Law, the contract is limited to 10 years. I could find no case law on allowing for the extension of the contract or what occurs at the end of the 10 years. Risks, liabilities, and responsibilities for the town. When presented with an application for a private sewer and or a water corporation, municipal officials should be aware that the law also places an additional obligation on the municipality if the private owner fails to complete the construction or abandons the operation of the water and or sewer system. The responsibility to ensure that a sewer and or water system needs to have construction completed or operated would then pass to you, the municipality. The municipality is ultimately responsible for seeing to it that the water and sewer systems are treated with chemicals on the same intervals and as any municipally owned system. And I went to your website, I looked up the part with the people that take care of your water and sewer. They sound extremely knowledgeable. So I'm not overly worried about that. For a transportation corporation to operate a water system, it must comply with recently strengthened, I never thought I would hear this before I said this tonight, PFAS standards. In case anyone doesn't know, this is extremely hot in terms of environmental concerns. That little plastic water bottle contains PFAS. And they've done studies where our water supply, even though it goes through filtration, contains PFAS. And it is a very carcinogenic element. An extremely costly filtration system must be installed. As a matter of fact, Veola is doing that throughout the state right now. And it has to be monitored and reported to the New York State Department of Health. The PSC can require the corporation to invest in treatment, infrastructure, and economic and regulatory oversight. As you are all aware, the chicken slaughter factory in Curious Joel has been identified as a main source of municipal water systems having to install at great cost and expense filtration systems due to the elevated sodium in the Mahwah River and its tributaries. I represent one municipality that has spent millions of dollars. It was actually a municipality that came in second for Legoland, by the way. But it is very costly, and even once it's installed, it has to be constantly tested, constantly monitored.
Executive summary.
Okay.
He's almost.
All right.
All right.
The town has an obligation to obtain sufficient security from the corporation to address the issues described. The risk in doing so is how to calculate how much surety would be sufficient to cover the costs that may be incurred over the course of a 10-year contract. Residents who do not benefit from the Transportation Corporation are not allowed to be taxed to pay for a private water or sewer facility. Where will fire hydrants be installed? Who will be obligated to pay for the cost, which is annual? Will they be located on municipal land or on the warehouse property? The applicant for a transportation corporation needs to apply to the town board by petition with all engineering plans attached, must comply with all zoning laws, receive site plan approval, and comply with all secret regulations. While I advised you that I cannot recall a single transportation corporation being approved in my years of practicing municipal law, I did deal with a transportation corporation that went belly up, and the municipality had nowhere near enough money and security to extend and pay for the takeover of the system. I performed an AI ChatGPT search with the query, how many transportation corporations for water and or sewer have been created in the last 10 years? I'm going to point out that AI does make many errors, so I'm not making that representation as gospel. It said often just a handful per year, often zero, and then it concluded, as will I, transportation corporations, especially for water and sewer, are uncommon in modern New York practice. Thank you very much. Unless you have any questions, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Anybody else like to speak? Neil, I see you're dying to put your hand up. Come on, buddy.
Thank you. This is a number of past comments, just on the IWS. I still think we have not seen, at least I'm not aware that we've seen, where they actually have received this permit from the DEC. For 600, no, for the 600 tons that they supposedly have approval for now. I know that they applied for it, but there's no record of it online that I can see. I thought you were gonna ask them to provide that in writing for you. They should have a copy of the permit saying, here's your approval, but I don't think that.
I'll get you a copy of it.
Good, thank you very much. And the other thing is they currently have violations on their property with the DEC and I think also with the EPA. They are open, right? There's at least one open violation right now. Good. Oh, on the indemnification thing, I see where there's a thing for a clearing permit, number 2. I don't know if there's any, is that gonna cover grading also? I would hope.
That was done by the board attorney.
Okay.
So I can get you an answer.
I don't really need to know it, but I hope they are, because I hate to see them get to the point where, all right, we're gonna do clearing, but now we can't do the grading, okay?
I'll run it by you.
Good, I think that the number 3 NYSERDA stretch, I think is a great idea. On the Wallkill River agreement, that really does cover only from New Jersey down to Goshen. It ends at Goshen. The county contribution is because of the county landfill. Property doesn't go down past there. It was supposed to go down to the 17M. However, I know that on our side, the landowner for that last stretch will not allow them to go down there and do any tree clearing or anything else there. So that has been an issue. As far as that ledge, we've been threatened with that many times. I know that the party there has had personal changes in their life, so I'm not sure that's still gonna be an issue. But we were threatened with a lawsuit if we had them flood there. We were threatened with a lawsuit if we go ahead and allow the ledge to be removed there. One of the other concerns that happened with that ledge being removed is that we've had somebody from, who was a consultant for the Army Corps of Engineers, who came in and said for every foot that you lower the river, you actually go back 3 feet on each side for the erosion. I don't know, and I realize that's not what you're talking about right now, but you please be aware of that. Going down further on number 8, I am concerned that Rick, Mr. Florio, voted on that. I don't see why he even needed to. It would have passed anyhow, but it seems like a conflict of interest for him to vote on a project that's going to benefit the company he works for.
He's only an employee there, Neil, so he has no financial benefit to it.
Sure, he's gonna work. Okay, yeah, you said it and whatever, okay? I still think it is. All right, number 11, and it's just a clarification. I think most of us here do not know what NYSIF is. NYSIF, if you could just explain that.
New York State Insurance Fund.
Okay, I was aware of it, but I don't know that most people are. On number 16, the summer hours, I think it would really be more beneficial for the public if they were off on Mondays. And the reason I'm saying that is if we're gonna have them off and have a 3-day weekend, that works. But the problem is that after we go to a meeting like this and we say, all right, you can get something from the clerk's office or even from the planning board where, hey, you can get it from the building department, now you have to wait 3 days to get there. It would be much better, I think, as far as the public being able to get the things, if that was a Monday off instead of a Friday off. Just in terms of the public, I know I had issues, not issues.
I'd like to comment. Friday is a completely dead day here. Monday is a very busy day.
Okay.
Just for, for continuing business.
I know, last year, several times during summer, I would have come in on Fridays, and that's just me personally, and it's not a survey of anybody else. I submitted, you asked me a while back, and I finally got around to doing it, I think it was back in February, to submit my questions about the ambulance district. I think I sent that in to everybody. I think all of you should have received that as an email.
Nope, never received it.
Something wrong with your email.
No.
Never received anything on the ambulance.
Did you also send the ERB stuff, or is that?
No, the ERB stuff is great.
It's great, I got it.
Okay,
I just
we have a secretary working at the ERB, and I would assume she has that stuff.
What,
That
Neil, are you still TEO, what is it, TO?
TOGCEO at yahoo.com.
What does that stand for?
It actually stands for Town of Goshen, right? and I'm just too damn lazy to change it and everything else. And before I got here it was TOF, Town of Fallsburg.
All right.
I never seen anything.
Okay, I will try to send it again.
I'm gonna send you an email now, see if you get it.
Okay, good.
Well, he sent us one, we
I
didn't.
know, but he can respond, I'll get it back.
Sure, yep. And the other thing, a question, I came into the town clerk's office the other day to see plans about the park expansion, and was told that they didn't have it there, or don't have it there. Is there a park expansion plan? Is there some kind of layout for that? What I was really looking for at this point in time was the wetlands delineation and the sign off by the DEC.
I'm sorry, for what project?
For the Craigville Park, or Myron Bannister
I
Park.
will send it to you on email.
Okay, thank you. It's
I
weird
gave
because,
one to- I had two
Yeah.
copies, I gave one to somebody, and then I gave one to
But it-
Kenny Newbold.
But it's also a draft, I mean, there isn't, right now it's a draft.
Well, the design of what we're putting in there is a draft, but the area has
Are
already.
you talking about the fields, or are you talking about the splash pad, there's a lot of things
the whole
going
thing,
on?
whatever's being
Okay, 'cause
proposed right now.
there's two separate things right
Like a
now,
site
so I
plan,
just
you want a
wanna.
site plan.
Yeah, where it's going, what's happening. Because I know years ago we had Ralph Huddleston who did wetlands delineation go through there, and there were wetlands all over back there. I'm just concerned that we had that, because I know I even went there with Phil,
Yeah.
when Phil first got on the town board.
Yeah,
And there were concerns there.
yeah.
Okay, the last thing I have is, there was some comment about the cemeteries and hiring somebody for cemeteries. My understanding was at least one of these cemeteries had a board, or was proposing a board, and actually had people lined up to do the mowing in that. Look, I don't want us to start,
They came to us, what, 2 weeks ago, Mary?
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
okay, I'm just worried,
They don't have a board.
Okay, I don't know that they do or not. I am concerned about us taking on town employees to start taking care of cemeteries.
We are required by law to take over.
The state is mandating it.
I understand what you're telling me. I also don't know that we've tried to reach out to anybody else to try to get somebody else to cover it.
We have,
We have.
Okay.
Ray Quattrini,
Ray Quattrini and Mark Donovan
Mark
and somebody else.
Johnson,
Okay.
and Wendy has been trying to help out. They've been looking
And
into
the
it.
funds are
Okay, 'cause
depleted.
I was told that there were landscapers who were willing to do this for nothing.
Really?
Yes.
Well, then,
Send them along.
Wow.
Okay, I have.
Email us.
I don't know them, okay? I don't know anybody who works for free, but I heard there are people who are willing to do this, okay? The one last thing, there was a thing about buying another car because of trips to Albany and 73 cents a mile, and we would have spent $12,000 on that. Just looking into that and the math on that, that would have required about 66 to 68 trips to Albany. I'm wondering what we're doing going to 68 trips to Albany. Thank you.
$4.5 million in grant money that I've been able to get for this town. You don't get it sitting at your desk.
I'm aware of that, but I question 66 or 68 trips to Albany.
It's not just going to Albany. I've been to New York City. I've been all over the state.
That wasn't what was said at the meeting. All I can go is based on what's said at the
The
meeting.
car was for anyone to use for the town.
So
I
as-
remember specifically.
Okay, so it's gonna be like-
Not just the supervisor, but if anybody has to go to
Good.
conferences or.
Okay, so it's gonna be here at the town hall.
Your email is getting rejected back.
All right, because it's weird, because I can send stuff into the clerk's office every so often when I ask for foils.
Yeah, email Supervisor Petra.
I don't do emails on my
No,
phone.
Neil, it may not be you.
Yeah.
It may be our server
Okay.
blocking you. So I
Sure.
have to find out from
Okay,
Ralph, I'm not Ralph, but Gary tomorrow.
okay, good.
But I got-
And it may be me, but I know that,
I get emails from you though. I don't have a problem.
I know, yep,
I
okay.
just sent you a test email and it got rejected.
You might have his email address wrong.
It's okay, I'll look into that and I'll try to arrange it.
Let's move on with the meeting.
Yes, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
The carrier pigeon.
I don't know how many more signals are there.
No.
No signals?
Guys, it's like, Chief, yeah.
Anybody else would like to speak? Chief?
Chief Post, do you wanna say something?
You got 3 minutes.
How you guys wanna go? You can go.
Thank you.
I just came for the, agenda items. Want to get any
Yeah, I
questions?
apologize. I thought the town clerk told you that it was on at 6.
Oh, yeah, blame Mary.
I
We did
got
make
a motion
NBC
to go to
News
town
this
board
week.
meeting. What?
We
Yeah,
made
Jim.
the NBC News.
NBC News?
We made NBC News.
Yes, we did. The dog on the roof.
dog on the roof. Yeah, somebody in here also responded to a Facebook post and said we should be maybe called Goshen Improv. I don't know who said that.
Thank you.
Go down. Go
All right, can I have a
down.
motion to close town board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Aye.